What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Kicking Out at 2. I am your host, Dave Rosenbluth, and we got a fun, nostalgic trip down pro wrestling memory lane for you as we're going to be watching the Dennis Rodman, Hollywood Hogan versus Lex Luger and the Giant Bash at the Beach main event from July 13th, 1997 this week here on Kicking Out at 2. And joining me, special appearance here on Kicking Out at 2, Dennis was a little under the weather, so I had to call an audible, and I called my main man from WretroMania, the architect, the mad scientist himself, Coby Nida. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Daddy? And you surely won't find out that maybe I put something in the food that Dennis ate to make him sick, so that they had to call the audible. Maybe it's long-term story booking.
So no, you did kidding. The Pearl Harbor job.
No, I'm kidding. I hope you get better, Dennis. But
Dennis,
I'm thankful to be the co-chair today.
That's, you know what, greatly appreciated that you can step in here. Last couple weeks, for those of you keeping score, last couple episodes, I should say, because we don't do this weekly, we don't do it bi-weekly. Kind of do it, whenever I can, so to speak. But I want to still keep putting out content because I still love doing this. But just my schedule, of course, can't do it as much as I'd like to. Unless you motherfuckers want to pay me. Let somebody wants to put some coin in my bank, some cash in my pocket. You know what I mean? If you want to,
show me the money, bitch.
That's right, bitch. Yeah, exactly. That's an old Marking Out the Days ECW Extreme Watch-Alongs reference. You can find that in the archives. The Show Me the Money, Bitch episode. I forget which one that was, but that was a fun one. Anyways, long story short, where was I at? I just lost my train of thought because I'm totally off the rails on this crazy train here. We've been covering some memorable nitros leading up to this bash at the beach. Just recently we watched the June 16th, 1997 episode of Monday Nitro from Chicago, Illinois. It was the night that Dennis Rodman made his WCW Monday Nitro debut. Him and Hogan confronted Luger and the Giant. It was a pretty memorable episode from the United Center in Chicago. And then our last episode, Viva Las Nitro, from Las Vegas on June the 30th, 1997, was the debut of not only Curt Hennig in WCW, but Raven as well. And that was a pretty loaded episode. Now, originally on the schedule, for those of you that are keeping score, I was going to give Dennis the option of we were going to watch the July 14th, 1997 episode of Monday Night Raw, which happened to be the debut of Dude Love, one of Mick Foley's alter egos, or we were going to stay with the WCW trend and watch Bash at the Beach. So I gave that option to one Coby Nida over here, and Coby has decided that we're going to watch the main event of Bash at the Beach because we don't have time to watch the whole show. Although this is a pretty fun show. If you go back and on your Peacock or by nefarious means and find it somewhere else for the original airing, you can watch this Bash at the Beach show. You can probably find it on Google, YouTube, Daily Motion, Plex app, other nefarious means other than the Peacock, because it's still the worst app in the history of America. But nonetheless, we're going to watch the main event because it's a pretty memorable one. This is during a hot period in wrestling. Coby, I'm sure you remember this. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Rodman's impact, Bash at the Beach in general. We'll get into all that as we watch this. So for those of you that are listening, you can find this show on the Peacock by searching WCW Bash at the Beach, and this is Season 4, Episode 1. And I want you to fast forward all the way to 2 hours, 15 minutes, and 33 seconds, and then pause it. And then we're going to watch the last half hour or so of this show, which is the main event with Hogan and Rodman, Hollywood Hogan and Dennis Rodman against Lex Luger and the Giant. But before we do that, while you guys are queuing that all up, getting your stuff ready for the watch-along, Coby, where can we find all the great content of WretroMania? Tell our listeners.
Well, Dave, thank you. Our home base is at Podbean. We have the illustrious archive over there, over 400 episodes. Evergreen content for your ears, wrestling content, plenty of shows over there. Cool Down with AC, Monday Night Marks, Gaijin Wrestling Radio, Hulkamania is Dead, The Origins of Attitude, Marking Out the Days, the original season where we tried to cover everything. Then the second season where it was WWF versus WCW Superstars. And then our briefly lived ECW Extreme Watch-Alongs. And plenty of shows from you, Dave, kicking out at 2. You hold it down over there the most. It's awesome. Got evergreen content for your ears on any podcasting platform, searching WretroMania with a W. You can also write to us for the upcoming Marking Out the Day shows if you have any requests for topics for the month at retromaniapodcast@gmail.com. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, we take requests here and Kicking Out at 2, so if you got any ideas, something you want us to talk about, something you want us to watch, you want to watch with us, by all means, hit us up over on Facebook, facebook.com/Kicking Out at 2. Also, our Twitter handles at Kicking Out 2, KICKNOUT, and the number 2. You can find pictures and articles, videos. It's been busy, so I haven't really updated the social media as much. Like I said, if y'all motherfuckers pay me, then maybe I wouldn't have to, be as lax when it comes to the social media and the recordings. No, I'm just kidding. I appreciate everyone's support and everyone's patience and going through a different transition here with this podcast, this passion of mine, and of course appreciating the time and effort that Coby puts into not only marking out the days which I participate in, but helping out and lending a hand with this show. So with that being said, hopefully you guys are all queued up, ready to rock and roll. From time to time, I will play the audio if it's necessary. Otherwise, Coby and I are just going to keep bantering, and that'll be that. So like I said, Bash at the Beach on the Peacock, Season 4, Episode 1, at 2 hours and 15 minutes and 33 seconds. When I say play, press play, and we will be on and popping with this watch-along here, celebrating the 25-year anniversary of a pretty historical moment in wrestling. Mm-hmm. And we'll get into that at some point throughout the course of this discussion. So, without further ado, in 3, 2, 1, press play.
Sorry, I had a little bit of audio there.
No, that's okay. We see Michael Buffer here in the ring, getting ready to introduce the combatants here. So, it's interesting. There's a couple things I want to talk about. Number one, Bash at the Beach itself. For me as a fan, 25 years ago, this was a hot show because of Rodman's involvement. Dennis Rodman was probably one of the most controversial sports figures at that time. Him and Mike Tyson were probably neck and neck in terms of what is now considered clickbait, being in the headlines for all the controversial moments they've produced in the sports world. But Bash at the Beach itself, what was your take on that event? Because to me, this was WCW's version of SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. But to me, this always, WWF had the big four. You had the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. To me, this was one of WCW's big four pay-per-views. What else would you consider putting under the banner of WCW's big four?
Oh, I guess, obviously, Starrcade.
Yep.
Starrcade. We got Bash at the Beach. They tried to say Halloween Havoc would be one, and I assume so. I guess I would say Super Brawl.
Those are the exact four I was thinking of.
Yeah. As
we see Luger and the Giant making their way down to the ring.
Now, if you want, I do have the original audio for the upcoming guys. If you want that, I think it's not a big deal.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how, because you're watching by nefarious means. I'm watching on the Peacock, so I don't know if we're all synced up. I mean, we're pretty close, right, in terms of synced up?
I think so. I'll see.
My timestamp. For those of you watching on Peacock with us, our timestamp's at 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 39 seconds. We see the Giant and Luger in the ring, awaiting the arrival of Dennis Rodman and Hollywood Hogan.
And I got the action figure of Dennis Rodman behind me here.
I got it too. The WCW one, the Toy Biz one,
the green-haired one.
I got the pink-haired one.
Oh,
yeah. There was a variant. I got the pink-haired one.
Okay, I got the green-haired one.
That's interesting.
And him and Hulk came in the set, right?
Yes. They did.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I know what you're talking. It's it's shorter. He comes with an NWO shirt.
I believe so. It's like
Yep.
one of those like plastic versions. As we
Here we see Hogan, Rodman, and Randy Savage entering the mix. Maybe I'll play the audio for this here.
Perhaps as acting manager, NWO superstar City, Chicago, Illinois. A superstar athlete who for a decade has dominated the world of sports in many venues. His fierce competitiveness and desire to win has earned him the label of bad boy. And he's proud of it. Because he's so good, he's as bad as he wants to be. And that's very, very bad. Ladies and gentlemen, the ultimate bad boy, Dennis Rodman. Well, there he is, Coach. And his partner. Undoubtedly one of the most famous and infamous personalities on the planet today. 6 feet 7 inches, 275 pounds of talent, power, and danger. There's not a wrestling fan in the world who does not know the undisputed NWO, WCW heavyweight champion of the world, Hollywood Hogan.
There's the intros for Hollywood Hogan, Dennis Rodman, and Randy Savage. Fun little fact here. I don't know, sure if you're aware of this, Coby, but Randy Savage's involvement in this match was kind of a last-minute sort of situation. In the event that Dennis Rodman wasn't performing up to the standards that were set for him, they were going to call an audible if Rodman, if things just weren't working out.
If he didn't, dare I say, play ball.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. If he didn't play ball, or if, honestly, I don't know. I mean, from what I gather, information I've read, stories I've heard, was that Savage was out there. If for whatever reason, if it wasn't working out with Rodman, he was going to kind of be inserted into the match at the last minute. But also there to kind of like coach Rodman in a way, even though he had Hogan in his, as his partner. Savage kind of being there to, Hogan was going to do the majority of the legwork, but Savage was there to kind of guide Rodman throughout the course of the match as well.
Right. Maybe give instructions from the outside if he forgets anything. Yeah.
Now, it's kind of ironic here, and I'm big on fate and big on things coming full circle in wrestling, but 25 years ago, Dennis Rodman making a big splash in wrestling. He almost signed with WWF to take part in an angle with Goldust at WrestleMania earlier this year, and that didn't come to be. And he would eventually sign with WCW, have some involvement in the NWO, which I thought really helped them build the momentum that they had with this NWO angle. But it's kind of ironic that another controversial figure in pop culture today in 2022, Logan Paul, has signed with WWE. Share your thoughts with me on Logan Paul's involvement in WWE and him signing this contract.
Is he the one that went to the suicide forest, or is that his brother?
I didn't even know about that.
Okay. Well, one of them did like a YouTube video in the Japanese suicide forest and was kind of like, talked shit about for a while about that, like on everybody's naughty list. But I think he's legitimately put in the work more than Dennis Rodman.
Yep.
And them signing him, we'll see what happens. I think it says in the contract though, it's like it's like a 6 appearance deal or something. Special.
Well, it's a multi-year deal.
But it's a number of appearances.
Okay, so he's not like full time.
No.
Yeah.
So smart move though, to get to garner viewers. That's what they're always doing in wrestling, and that's what wrestling is kind of like get a guy from some other environment involved here, whether it was like boxing, mixed martial arts, basketball, football. We see it all across the board with wrestling. Why not have like a YouTube star that kind of transitioned into boxing, MMA?
Yeah, I mean, he made an appearance at last year's WrestleMania, involved in the Kevin Owens Sami Zayn match, and he ate a stunner, and then he was involved in the tag match wrestling with The Miz against the Mysterios on night 1 of WrestleMania, and it was one of the highlights for me. I was impressed. He knew how to get that crowd going. His athletic ability in the ring, he was able to hang with those guys. Able to hold his own. It's night and day compared to what we're going to see as we're watching with Rodman. Granted, Rodman was impressive, okay? For someone who was a professional basketball player, he was impressive. But, man, Logan Paul, to me, just, like, he exuded, like he represented being a fan out there. And he embellished and took on the role as a wrestling heel, and I thought he did a tremendous job at WrestleMania earlier this year. And I even said it, I might have said it to you, I might have said it in other groups of people, if he were to walk away from doing the social media YouTube thing and just went directly into pro wrestling, he'd be successful. And I think he is going to have a successful, embark on a successful run in WWE. I do believe that. He's a lightning rod of controversy, he's popular, he's in the mix of pop culture, and I think it's only going to help WWE with their viewers and with the demographic from someone like Logan Paul that brings to their programming. And I mean, he works hard. He stays in great shape. So I think this is a win for everybody involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we see Luger and Hogan headlocking it up here. Rodman still got the sunglasses on. I will play the audio when Rodman locks up with Luger because I think it's a pretty cool moment. But Luger and Hogan at this time were embarked in a rivalry with Luger chasing Hogan for the title. Not long after this event, Luger would defeat Hogan on the 100th episode of Nitro to win the WCW World Heavyweight title, only to drop it a week later because that doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah, That's a phrase that was commonly used for him.
Yes.
Throughout his career. Creative control, if you shall, if you will.
Now, 25 years ago, I was 14 years old. Mm-hmm. Okay. And my father had just changed over from cable to digital cable. Digital cable was like the new wave at the time.
Oh, yeah. That's right. And dropping the FiOS lines, dropping the digital DSLR lines or whatever they were. And
what is now AT&T, the cable company we were using was called SNET, locally in Connecticut. It was like a telephone. They were strictly just telephones. They were landlines. And they decided to go into they were one of the first to go into the digital cable world. And so my uncle worked for SNET for years, and he had a promotion which he ended up getting a bonus for, which if he got X amount of family members of subscription, we would get like free cable for like 2 months, and then we could order. So basically, I got to watch the show for free.
Nice.
This was free. And it was like, so I watched this, and then the Calgary Stampede, which was a week prior, the In Your House Canadian Stampede pay-per-view, which was a week prior. So, and this was as a teenager for me, this was a big pay-per-view for me to order because of the Rodman involvement. This was huge because Rodman was very popular. Now he gets the tag. He's going to come in the ring. I'm going to play the audio for this for a little bit. So we are currently at 2 hours, 27 minutes, and 20 seconds here.
Come on, Hulk. You need to drag your butt in there and do something about it.
That's right, baby.
Let's see what you got.
They're standing everywhere at the sold-out Ocean Center. And millions watching on pay-per-view as Dennis Rodman has come into the ring with Lex Luger.
Oh, yeah. Whoa.
Hey, Rodman is cool.
Doesn't seem to be showing any signs of being really worried.
Luger's doing the right thing, Tony, and great by not rushing over there and trying to get into his mess.
Let's see what he's got.
Rodman again, circling Luger, trying to lure Luger into the corner. Pulled back by Hogan, and Luger being very smart again, guys.
You know what's happening all this time? Hollywood Hogan is getting his wing.
That's right. That is exactly right. This is a stall. I've seen this happen a lot.
Now a little skull session again with the world champion Hogan.
Once again, Hollywood getting that dress back. There you
Savage
go.
is up.
You can see it coming
This
right
is
there.
all one big plan.
Yes. And a good play.
Conspiracy.
Fans are on Hogan because they want to see Rodman tied up there.
And they're a little bit on Rodman, too.
There they go.
He
be a big pop.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Wow, and then the arm drag.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, Rodman, another one, knew how to play to the crowd. He got involved in the role.
Absolutely.
He was very involved. And somebody, too, I think that if he wanted to, he probably could have had a full-time career in wrestling once he winded down from basketball.
Yeah, but taking those bumps for a guy his size and someone who had also put in work, let's not forget, as a basketball player, he was very talented and played for years.
Yes.
So he had some some miles on him, if you will.
He was a very physical defensive player in basketball, and I don't think taking bumps in wrestling would have helped.
Yeah.
But maybe even as a personality, as like, a manager or even a color commentator or, wrestling occasionally, kind of being like,
I think the manager role works well. If he would have worked with Hogan for a while,
if he was like a part of the NWO in a more regular role,
yes,
that would have been interesting. He could have been like the Jesse Ventura on steroids, modern day version at that time in '97. Very colorful, very flamboyant, controversial. Jesse was colorful, flamboyant, even controversial at times on the mic. Mm-hmm. Rodman, I think, could have. He might not have wrestled full time, but he could have. He could have definitely had a strong career in wrestling full time.
He had a lot of other ventures too. He did the acting thing as well.
He did acting, yep, reality TV.
That movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dane Cook or something?
Yeah, the Double Impact or something like that.
Christ.
Yeah,
that was around this time or like a year later.
I honestly think the movie was before this. I think he was promoting the movie. I remember them promoting the movie on TV.
Okay.
I have an interesting Rodman story actually that I once heard from Shane Helms. He was telling me at the time they brought Rodman in. This was probably about Rodman's third appearance.
The Fan.
Yeah. Again, see Savage jumps up there. Hogan's jumping around. They're really giving Rodman the shine.
Yeah.
Like they're really letting him gloat and revel in the spotlight. But so this was like so there's this match, then there's the appearance the following year when they did the thing with DDP and Karl Malone, which was another monumental moment for that time for not only Rodman but for WCW. And then the following year they capitalized and they put him in a match with Randy Savage when like Savage had like Gorgeous George with him. And so they had Rodman and Savage training at the power plant. And Shane tells me that they asked him to help put the match together. And Shane's a big Randy Savage guy. I think that was the first time he ever met Randy Savage.
Okay.
When Savage was working for WCW. And so they help put this match together, and they tell Rodman, we want you to deliver a chair shot to Savage's back. And Savage is telling him, he's like, just lay it in there. Don't hold back. And so Savage is holding himself up against the top rope, and Rodman takes the flat back side of the folding chair, and he fucking nails him. Hits him perfect on the back, as hard as he could. And Savage... you could kind of tell that he felt it, and he's just like, oh yeah, that was a good one, And so then he gets out of the ring, and you hear Savage walking towards like around the corner, and he's like, oh motherfucker, that fucking hurts, oh god damn. But he didn't sell it in front of Rodman. It was funny that he waited till he got to like around the corner to fucking be like, it hurt.
Right.
But
can't tell in front of other people. Look at all the trash in the ring too.
This is an era where they like throwing that shit. I mean, especially with the NWO out. They had no problem throwing that shit. It's crazy. As far as what else took place on this card before we got to this match, the opening match saw Mortis and Wrath with James Vandenberg defeat Glacier and Ernest Miller in 9 minutes and 47 seconds. Chris Jericho would also defeat the Ultimo Dragon to retain the Cruiserweight Championship in 12 minutes and 55 seconds. The Steiner brothers would defeat the Great Muta and Masahiro Chono in a tag team match in 11 minutes and 37 seconds.
I think this is the one where they the one dude falls on his face pretty hard or gets hit pretty hard by the Steiners. Go figure.
Oh, really?
Go figure. Yeah.
And then Juventud Guerrera, Hector Garza, and Lismark Jr. would defeat La Parca, Psychosis, and Viano 4 in 10 minutes and 8 seconds. Chris Benoit would defeat Kevin Sullivan in a retirement match in 13 minutes and 11 seconds.
Oh, boy.
Jeff Jarrett would defeat Steve McMichael for the WCW United States Championship in 6 minutes and 56 seconds with the help of Deborah. Scott Hall and the Macho Man Randy Savage with Miss Elizabeth defeated Diamond Dallas Page and mystery partner Kurt Hennig in a tag team match in 9 minutes and 35 seconds. Roddy Piper would defeat Ric Flair by submission in 13 minutes and 26 seconds. And then we get to this match, the main event. Lex Luger and the Giant taking on Hollywood Hogan and Dennis Rodman. No spoilers, because we're watching this together.
Yeah. Here we go. Hogan just doing the typical Hogan thing at the time. It was.
Yeah, he's working the majority of this match because, Rodman isn't exactly as skilled. But now he's back in, gets the tag.
Well, as interesting as Hogan's career is, though, face and heel, once he started doing the WWF run and into this WCW run, it's just beat down, comeback. Or scandalous comeback eventually. Mm-hmm. But he always got beat down and sold. You know?
Yeah. What's more interesting for me personally is the fact that they trusted him so much with celebrities over the years. I mean, the inaugural WrestleMania, what a leapfrog by Rodman.
Yeah.
The inaugural WrestleMania with Mr. T, which was a huge moment for wrestling in general. Put WrestleMania on the map. And then this here with Dennis Rodman, which was another huge moment itself. It's just kind of interesting how on both sides of the spectrum, as a babyface, they put him with Mr. T to really help launch the first WrestleMania, and then this match here with Dennis Rodman to really help, solidify WCW as a dominant force in wrestling.
Yeah.
He comes in attacking the Giant while the referee's out of place with Rodman. Was there a legal tag? I don't think there was. No. I don't think that was a legal tag there, but it was WCW.
God damn it, Pee Wee Anderson.
That's why Eric Bischoff fired you in front of your kids, because you suck.
No, actually, yeah. Nick Patrick.
That was one of the best promos I ever.
We've talked about that before.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You don't like the way he counts.
I don't like the way he counts. I don't like the way he referees. I don't like a lot of things.
Yeah.
There's some other referees I don't like either.
Like who?
The new AEW refs. Any of them.
Well, we won't spoil this podcast talking about
exactly.
that. We're going down a nostalgic trip.
Yes,
down memory
absolutely.
lane.
At the time, I was so stoked for this. I was like, oh my god, Dennis Rodman wrestling. Had they already done? I mean, WCW was pretty good at hot-shotting these celebrity appearances, because when Hogan first appeared at Bash at the Beach in 1994, was it?
Yep.
Who was that? Mr. T involved?
Mr. T, I think, was involved, and so was Shaq.
Yeah.
Shaq was like the belt holder.
Yep.
Shaq was like the belt holder. Mr. T was in Hogan's corner, I think, with Jimmy Hart. I didn't like that whole Hogan had a manager when he was a babyface. I didn't like that thing, with him and Jimmy. I was not a big fan of the Jimmy Hart as the man. He's the little weasel. He was the pipsqueak. I just couldn't picture him with good guy Hulk Hogan. But Hogan, you could see them giving Hogan an entourage was. I don't think it was the best move, but it didn't make him look like a strong babyface. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
What a double hip toss by Hogan and Rodman there. But this was I think the first real big celebrity acquisition for WCW that made it to mainstream media.
Then it would be Malone later, right?
Yeah, a year later they did Rodman and Hogan against Malone and DDP, which was another huge milestone for the company. And even though it didn't have the greatest results, the following month they followed up with Jay Leno, with Hogan and Jay Leno or Hogan and Bischoff against DDP and Jay Leno.
Now that's when I think I was like, what the when Jay Leno put like an arm bar on Hogan.
Yeah, it's not a good for wrestling fans. That was awful, but for the cover of USA Today in the sports section, it was great. People saw, that's what you see. Jay Leno putting
wrestling was one of the highest rated things at the time, though, in television.
Yeah, I mean, in 1998, it was huge. I mean, this is peak WCW right here, 97. They are on fire. They can't be touched. Even though during this period of time on the other channel, you had the Hart Foundation and the anti-America angle. Like, that was really good stuff. WCW was still kicking ass. Like, their programming was still good. With Rodman's involvement, the NWO. I was more of a Nitro guy than a Raw guy, but
I think I was too for the variety. It was because you kind of like WWF was just kind of the same formula as they are now.
Yeah, I would when I flipped back and forth. If Raw was on and it had like the Hart Foundation, Shawn Michaels, Steve Austin, even like the Undertaker to some degree, like I would keep it on there. But if they weren't on, I was watching Nitro. I was glued to Nitro, and especially if it was NWO, forget about it. Nothing else mattered at that point for me.
Yeah.
So we see Hogan putting the boots to Flexi Lexi.
There was a brief period of time during this time, at least I think the next year, where I got a VHS player, and then I got a TV that had a VHS player installed with it. Do you remember those?
Okay. I do. I used to have one of those. And then eventually I had a TV with a VHS and a DVD player installed.
Ooh!
But there was one of those. I was bougie. I was fancy.
Those were the good old days. But I would have each show rolling in different areas of the house.
Oh, same.
To record on VHS.
Same. Yes. My brother Daryl's responsibility was to tape Raw, and because Nitro and Raw were kind of on at the same time, I would then record the Nitro replay at 11 o'clock in my bedroom. So I spent so much money on VHS tapes, and I watched so many of those. They were like onion skin thin. It was a lot of consumption of wrestling. Now look at this here, okay? Giant gets the tag. Hogan's scared to death, but Rodman, he's like, nah, no big deal. Like, that's Rodman no-selling the babyface comeback right there. At least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Let's say you.
Like, what? Like, why give him that,
Yeah.
It was a lot of ass-backward stuff. I mean, I think it was because people would just pop because it's him,
Oh, we got company.
Of course, NWO.
It's
NWO is
Sting.
going to NWO. Oh, it's Sting!
Yeah.
It's
Sting!
It's Scott Hall dressed as Sting, right?
Actually, I think this is Kevin Nash. Yep, over the top rope. It's definitely Nash.
Okay.
And the announcers would play it up like, it's Sting! And then they'd be like, Sting just turned on WCW again!
Fuck it, I'll walk over the top rope. Sting never did it. Fuck it, it's fake.
Yeah.
Wow. This got pretty redundant, too. The fake Sting thing.
Yeah. And then, Sting would, put, a mask and a wig over his hair. And then, if he came down, they'd be like, oh, it's a bogus Sting. But then, he would, reveal, oh, it's the real Sting. He even, out-bogused himself. As we see the finish here. Luger. Is Hogan giving up? Hogan has given up. Clean. And in the middle. Look at that. And here comes Rodman. About to eat a torture rack himself. Look at that image right there. Lex Luger, torture rack, and Dennis. Oh, Macho Man's going to get one too. He's going to go up. Oh, yeah, don't hurt my back too much, huh? Wow, look at that. Garbage in the ring.
Yeah. There's a lot of these endings got worn out, It was just over and over DQ finishes or dusty finishes if you will.
In public, if you will.
Come on, let's get out of here, brother, dude.
We gotta go get on the motorcycle and hang and bang for 40 days and 40 nights, brother.
Yeah, I got to reference the Hells Angels and how we're brotherhood while we're hanging out with a Rodman.
Where's Elizabeth, huh? Can't find Elizabeth anywhere, huh? Was she with you, Dennis? Or was she with you, Hulk, huh? We gotta find Elizabeth. See, look at this. They just got beat. All right, this is what I don't like. They just lost. They just got beat down, and then they're walking out like they're still the bee's knees. Like, they sell the fact that the baby faces won. You know, as we see the credits closing here for WCW Bash at the Beach 1997. Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. Not like the end I didn't like, where they just kind of like no-sold it. What say you?
Yeah, it was just like, let's get out of here. Let's keep our heat, whatever. Rodman performed in the main event. We got our money. Let's go. Bang in there. Roll the credits really quickly.
I wonder if they were short on time, if other stuff went over.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. We got this a
Well,
lot.
overall, what did you think? What did you think of the match itself? Like going back and watching it 25 years later.
It's fine. I mean, for seeing a celebrity in the ring for the first time, and like performing, yes, did a great arm drag. But over the years we've seen that introduced in WWE a lot. But yeah, if we're gonna go to a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a 6 for the nice effort there.
Yeah, that sounds about accurate. I mean, it was really all about the hype, and it delivered to a certain extent. It delivered to a point. It wasn't so much. It wasn't. I don't think anybody expected a technical wrestling masterpiece, but Rodman played a good, cocky chicken shit type of heel, and he fit in right with that whole NWO persona. So. I guess it met expectations for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking this time to come back and watch this match here with us this week here, this episode of Kicking Out at 2. I don't know when we'll be back, but we will be back at some point in the very near future. Taking that stroll down nostalgic pro wrestling memory lane. We might continue with the 1997 vibe with some Raws, Wars, and some Nitros. Maybe even cover a SummerSlam, even though SummerSlam's coming up at the end of the month. Who knows? We'll be back at you in the streams real soon. And I think it's about that time that we officially put this show down for the 3 count. And we will see you all next time.
All right.